Hey everybody, this is Sandy here. Most people think investment is about making money, right? But they forget that it's also about not losing money. Yesterday, we talked about different places, different ways that we can invest our money, right? We can either grow our money in a fixed environment or variable, or the combination of the fixed and the variable, which is the index, right? So over the next days, I'll be making some series of videos called the 10 principles of successful people, right? People who are successful, they just don't just invest anywhere. They have principle that guides them, right? So today we're going to talk about the first two, which we call the rule number one and rule number two. So rule number one is make money but never lose money. What account do we have, right? That is giving us our investments, giving us a good return, and yet we are not losing any money. Okay, and the second one is never forget rule number one, right? Never, always think about rule number one when it comes to investment. And those two rules were actually quoted by Warren Buffett, right? One of the investment of all time. Okay, so when we come to making money but never lose money, so we talk about fixed environment, right? Our checking, our savings, right? Our money market, certificates of deposit, those we never lose money, right? Our money is always there. It's in a fixed environment. We're barely making any interest though, but we don't lose money in those accounts. But what about variable accounts, right? I think you're probably thinking about your stocks, right? Your bitcoins or your 401k, 403b, TSB, Roth. Yes, all that are in the variable environment, right? So based on what the market does, you can lose a huge chunk, like half of your portfolio. And sometimes people are like, oh, well, I'll still get it back, right? But for example, if you invest $1,000, right, and you lose 50%, now you end up with 500, and the market recovers, right, by 50% again. Do you think you go back to 100? You do go back to your $1,000? No, you end up with 750, right? So it takes several years for you to recover and return back to your the original amount. So you keep going back and forth, right? So when it comes to investment, we want to choose the portfolio that is protecting what we have first, right? Then we also what, making a good rate of return, right? Getting interest back. So if you want to discuss where to, invest your money so that you are not playing with the market, the variable up and down, right? You're always playing with your money. Hit me, right? Send me DM or check out the comment below and book